Lá tem samba até de manhã, uma giga em cada andar. O meu lugar é cercado de luta e suor, esperança num mundo melhor e cerveja pra comemorar. O meu lugar tem seus mitos e seres de luz, é bem perto de Oswaldo Cruz, Cascadura, Vaz Lobo e Irajá. O meu lugar é sorriso, é paz e prazer, o seu nome é doce dizer, Madureira. O meu lugar é caminho de alguns.
Welcome to the Beast Council podcast. Bom dia. I'm Charles Clark, your real estate investment broker, here with another bright idea. Welcome to the Beast Council podcast, brought to you by the Beast of Aspire. Thank you so much for joining us. First, want to give a big shout out to our sponsors, which is Next Home My Way, the real estate brokerage here in southeastern Wisconsin, headquarters in Milwaukee, where I am holding down this podcast in our studio across the street from the airport. So if you hear noise, that's what you're going to be hearing. Want to just always give big thanks to Angel, Jose, and Carlos, our leadership team at Next Home My Way, that allows me to put on this amazing podcast every week, and the webinars and the deal analysis, which I'll go into later. But I always want to just give a big shout out to Next Home. So if you're an agent out there or a broker who's looking for a new home, Next Home My Way is that new home for you. We believe in building our agents and brokers brand. We know the times are changing, and it's not necessarily about the franchise, but it's about the agents and the brokers themselves and what they bring to the table and how they serve their clients and their community. And we just try to give them the platform to be the best agent, client, and person themselves. We try to support them as much as possible to allow them to be who they are. I am also the director of agent development at Next Home My Way. So just want to let guys know that as well. And I also have my broker license hung up there. They give me the ability to do this and build my brand, right? I'm able to use the studio here to put on these webcasts, podcasts, webinars, and I'm just so grateful for that as well. And some of the things that we offer to our agents and allowing them to build their brand, right? So if you're an agent out there, feel free to reach out, DM me in the comments below, or reach out to me on Instagram, Facebook, or reach out to our platform, our Next Home page, things of that nature. We're growing here, building something beautiful here. So thank you again, Next Home My Way. And then I want to thank Raise the Standard, my team, my business here with Next Home My Way. We don't help you buy a property. We help you build a real estate investment business. That's one of the things that I push because of the niche that I try to go after, which is real estate investors and agents who want to work with real estate investors. One of the things that I've always just expressed, that when a client is buying an investment property, they're not actually buying a property, they're buying a business. It just so happens to be a property, right? And so those are one of the things I try to put out there, because of the difference of just buying a home that you're moving into and buying an investment property is definitely a different approach. So there's 3 mottos that I want to share with Raise the Standard. Raise the Standard means, to me, is If the deal doesn't work for my client's family, myself, my family, and the community, those are deals that we don't want to be a part of. This is about raising the standard of living for everyone involved in every deal that we do. And if it doesn't happen, we don't do the deal. Second one is be better by being better. I try to teach the agents that work with me and even Next Home My Way agents and brokers is every day we should be trying to get better, getting better at using AI, getting better at understanding our clients, getting better at understanding the market, getting better at our abilities and skills that we have and improving them. We should always be trying to get better in what we do. And the last is, what's your legacy? Why are you doing this? Why are you want to invest? Why are you trying to be an agent? Why are you trying to be a broker? Those are just important questions you have to ask yourself. And what are you trying to leave for? Like, I have a son. My legacy is leaving him and leaving Milwaukee a better place and leaving all the cities and states that I invest in better than where it was before I got in there. And that's the legacy that I want to leave. So those are the three models that I run Raise the Standard with, and I try to bring to every deal and every transaction and every interaction I do with clients and everything else. So thank you again for Next Home My Way and Raise the Standard for sponsoring the Beast podcast, Beast Council podcast. Wanted to give about Beast Aspire. These are the Beast part of Aspire Investing, the investment group that we have created. In there, the Beast, there's different levels that our members and clients are when they join us. You start out as a lion. There's 3 stages to each one. First is a lion, then it's a bull, then it's a dragon, and then the final phase that you want to get to is the phoenix. That is the ultimate phase that you want to reach in the investment journey. And so Beast of Aspire it gives you that levels where you can gauge yourself of where you are today and have you something shooting for, right? It's more than just shooting for that number, but shooting for the knowledge, the camaraderie, the experience of each level and gaining and getting different points. So we give points and ultimately giving back, right? Because part of being a Phoenix is that you start, giving back, being a mentor, being someone who's part of the community, helping other ones build their stuff up. Because as I tell everyone, real estate is not a solo sport, it's a team sport. You cannot do this alone. One of the things I always tell my clients first, when they come to me first, if they haven't went to a lender, that they need to go to a lender, and I provide them with a lender, even if it's a conventional loan, FHA, hard money, whatever it is, they need to go to that person first so we understand how much they can spend, right? So I alone know I can't do deals even from the broker side by myself. I need a team to get deals done. And that's one of the things that I make sure I share with everyone. So big shout out to those who are part of Aspire and going through the Beast stages. So let's get into it, right? What is tonight about? Tonight is about just reintroducing what Aspire is. We've been going through some changes and what this segment is. I used to host webinars around this time, and I am making a complete change to what we're doing and providing a different approach to what we're trying to accomplish. Some aspects of the webinar will be in the podcast, but the podcast is more, it's not a seminar anymore. There's no slides. I used to do slides, and I wanted to get away from that because it just did not serve the purpose that I was trying to accomplish. So that's one of the things that I just wanted to make sure that I get across is that no longer trying to do a webinar. I just felt like it wasn't serving the purpose that we were trying to do, and I felt like being able to speak with individuals would be more important, and sharing what the community Aspire is doing, because we're doing so much, right? So this is more about having a live conversation with people who are serious about building a real estate investment business. Again, like I said, tonight we're about reintroducing Aspire Investing. what it is, what it's built for, and what the role this podcast plays in your development as an investor. By the end, you should know exactly where you are in your investment journey and exactly what your next move is. And that's the goal. The whole point of Expire is execution. It's all about moving forward, right? I always tell people a bad plan is better than no plan, right? At least with a bad plan, we can move forward, and when it goes wrong, we can make corrections. But if you have no plan and we don't know where to make corrections, we don't know what the last move was, whatever. So having a bad plan is always will be better than having no plan. And anyone in the room, please, drop in the chat. Are you here for your first deal, your next deal, or to scale what you already have? And drop the city, and I want to know who's in the room tonight. So please put that in there, and we'll see what happens by the end. So one of the big premises that as I was sharing with you before, and what I kind of built from my standpoint of why I wanted to build this, and why, for example, as a real estate broker in the state of Wisconsin, I only work with investors. And I was having a meeting today and just sharing that through my career, this was one of the big issues that I was dealing with, because a lot of the broker offices that I was at would always say, like, why do you just want to work with investors? There's, go and get regular individuals and things like that. And to me, there was a difference, because as an investor myself, when I went through my first transaction, the agent that I used didn't really help me through that whole process. They didn't help me run any numbers. They just filled out the contract for me. So I felt like even in that standpoint, there was something that was missing. And as I got into bigger pockets, right, one of the things that they would push is like find an investor friendly agent. And as I got my license and was in it, like as I talked to other agents, they would always talk about investors like an offshoot. They were always like, yeah, I got this guy who comes around, he eventually buys a couple, and then he goes away, and then he'll come back and do more. And I just thought it was just weird that you have this person that is buying multiple properties from you, and maybe they're not the most always, but they're buying multiple deals. So as I told people, like, for me to do 100 deals in a year, I don't need 100 clients. I need 30 investors, because most likely most of those investors are going to do 3, 4, or 5 deals, especially if you have a fix and flip, right? Fix and flip, that's 2 deals in one. So I just realized that helping investors build would sustain my business, because as right now, the economy has changed, and some of those people who are looking to buy a new home, they're waiting. But an investor, if that's a good deal, they're going to pull the trigger. So I just always thought that focusing my business on investors would sustain my business, but then also put me around the people I want to be around. Because as me being an investor myself, I want to be around other investors. And I always kind of thought about it as, what if I can turn my transactional clients into my limited partner clients, right? That they're working with me to do deals, and I'm bringing to the table that I can get the transaction done. So that was one of the main reasons why I partner with my partner, Devin, to take Expire to this next level. The goal was to create an ecosystem around the clients that I have and the clients that he's asked, because he's actually a broker himself. He does the commercial side. I do more of the retail investors. So I would say my thing is between 1 and 20. His is just 5 and up in anything commercial, industrial, office building, things of that nature. And things that are bigger than a 20 unit, he tends to focus more on. So that was the premise of really creating Aspire Investing, was, focus on from the mindset of helping investors, build the reps, right? And compounding on those things, right? I felt like a lot of times, especially if I was working with a first-time investor and, wanting to educate them about FHA and things of that nature, that I was spending so much time trying to help educate them that I felt like I needed to have a better system in place, because I was always just having these one-off conversations with clients, and they were kind of repeating themselves. And I needed to put a system together, which ended up being Aspire Investing, So that's why we created a school and things of that nature. But as I'm gonna go into more things of that nature as well. And then, the difference between buying a property and building a real estate investment business. Most education teaches you just how to do the first one. Aspire exists to teach you how to do the second one, right? And keep moving forward, right? One of the things I've shared in previous webinars and previous videos is I had someone come to me and they shared with me they were stuck, and as I was going through my questions of trying to better understand them so I can help consult them, I asked them, like, did you already get a deal done, and is that why you're stuck? And he was like, actually, yeah. He was like, yeah, I do. I actually bought an investment. It's cash flowing. We went in there, did a little work, rented out, and we increased the rents, and it's cash flowing. And I was like, well, why? There's your scaling. Pull that money out and go get the next one. He was, well, I can't. He was like, ding, 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 ding. That wasn't your deal. That wasn't the right deal for you, or you strategized that deal wrong, because if your goal was to scale, you would approach that deal differently, or you would have went with a different deal, because you obviously didn't accomplish the goal that you ultimately wanted to do, which was scale. And that was where, again and again, where I started to realize how important it was to have a strategy when you're buying real estate investing, and understanding that just because something cash flow doesn't necessarily mean it's the right deal for you because of what you're trying to accomplish, right? And so having all those things and understanding that, and using my background, it just helped me better understand those things. And I'll go into my background because some people are like, why should I listen to you, Charles? I feel like I have some credentials and things of that nature that makes you say, hey, at least Charles is someone that has the experience and the knowledge to speak on this. So there's 5 layers to, I don't want to say, there's layers to Aspire and what we're trying to provide, and what we're trying to promote here. And so layer 1 is every Tuesday at 12 o'clock. It's the Beast Council review. And what I do there is a live deal analysis every Tuesday at lunch. So these are for our ideal clients, right? Is your mid managers, your managers, your CPAs, your doctors, your lawyers, your accountants, those individuals that love what they do, or like what they do, or maybe they hate what they do, but they know they should be investing in real estate to offset, to live the lifestyle that they're wanting to live, right? And so I figure, like, hey, if you got that lunchtime, here's a great way to analyze deals. That's what I used to do, so that's why I kind of thought of this. I used to, when I used to work at a manufacturing company, big shout out to Generac and Komatsu. I used to try to get there early so I can analyze deals in the morning, and then on my lunch break, I would try to analyze more deals there, because I knew how that real estate would be the thing that changed my life. And so I just thought, like, hey, let's do a deal analysis at lunch. There's a lunch and learn. Someone can take a break, start analyzing some deals, and then get back to work, right? Most of this is going to be a part-time job for someone else, or your side gig, and taking a lunch break to do it, because sometimes you want to get home and you just want to focus on family. So you got to fit all this extra stuff in. And sometimes, waiting to the end of the day is not always the greatest. So if I can fit it in during lunchtime, what a perfect opportunity. And so with the Aspire, I try to teach the Aspire framework. So I built a calculator around the Aspire name and Aspire focus and Aspire system. So Aspire framework is A is for asset address. That's the thing you're looking at, right? So you need to, you need to understand what you're trying to accomplish and what you want to do. And so it kind of like reverse engineering. Hey, I'm looking at this single family house. I think it's a good fix and flip. It might not be the result by the end of it, but you got to have a framework so you know how to analyze it. I tell a lot of people, if you don't have a number that you're looking at, it's very hard to analyze deals. And so that's what this framework helps. S is for seller situation. You got to know who you're buying from and why they're buying, right? If you can't know the why, but you at least know who it is, that really helps. If it's a distressed seller, is a regular seller, is it a LLC, is it a bank, or is it the city? Knowing all those situations really helps how you can negotiate. P is for purchase price or purchase assumption. Seller always going to have their price. You need to have your price, right? And sometimes they don't match, they don't agree. but you need to at least have what you think your price should be based on some of the initial information you have. I is for improvement in investing. 98% of the deals that we always look at, we're looking at a value add deal because we want to recycle the capital. And what I always tell people, contractors are the most important people in real estate investing because they are typically the ones that are always doing the value add to whatever property so that we can pull the money out, right? Most people want to do BRRRR. So I would say BRRRR is the main strategy that we kind of look at. I also look at fix and flips as basically being BRRRR. It's just the BRRRR that you sell at the end of the fixing, where BRRRR is you refinance it and go get the next one. And so investing in the improvement is the most important part of that, because without that, you can't pull the money out to go get the next deal. R is for revenue, right? So again, fix and flip or a BRRRR, that's the cash flow or the profit after the sale, right? We need to understand that so we know how to move forward. Even knowing the rents, even on a fix and flip is awesome, because if you bought something, like you can do fix and flip a duplex, right? You bought it was at 900 and now you got it at 1200. Those are important information you need to know. And then E is exit strategy. We do 5 exit strategy. It is buy and hold, BRRRR, fix and flip, seller, creative seller financing, and wholesaling. One of the deal has to end with one of those things, right? You should always have an exit strategy, regardless if you say I'm gonna buy and hold this for the rest of my life. Well, if you're gonna buy and hold this for the rest of your life, you will die soon, or not soon, but eventually, right? So even that, you need to say, okay, I got to put it in trust so I can leave it for my family and everything else. Those are one of the things that I say, right? I don't necessarily look at things like I'm gonna hold something for the rest of my life. I definitely look at more investments from a 7 to 10 year run. Obviously there's some things in there. If it holds out for, and it's just doing a great job, you hold it on to it. But most of the time it's 5, 7, 10 years of holding for me. So that's the framework. That's what we do on Tuesdays. It's real properties, real numbers, real decisions, right? We actually run things, and then sometimes I actually put in there deals that we're actually going through, and we're always looking for deals from our members and the public. So if you have a deal you want us to run, please send it to me. Again, you can DM me. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook. I'm finally on X. I'm finally on TikTok. Nervous about it, but we'll keep going. Typically, the deal analysis, I feel like anyone can come there. We do more focus on from an educational standpoint. So as from a beast, typically lion clubs who are trying to become lion hunters, right? They're trying to understand how to analyze deals and get better at it. And so we just understand those reps, compounds. Every week you show up and do them. So every Wednesday here, right? Podcast every week, 7 o'clock, besides 1 week, and I'll let you know next. We do this podcast, right? And we're typically going to try to have guest speakers. We're actually going to go through the execution system of Expire, right? Because Expire has a deal analysis aspect to it, but then it actually has a system aspect to it as well. This is Aspire. We built a system of how you should run your business and how you're looking at deals and the framework from that, and how you should approach and how the system works of helping you get to the next deal and how you approach that from that standpoint. So kind of same framework from the acronym. Just like, for example, I is more about capital, right? And where it's same thing for a deal analysis, the improvement of fixing it up, but more in the system is more of like where we're getting the capital to do the work that we need to do. So, and that's typically when we're going to bring a topic, we're going to go over, talk about deals, concept, and have conversations with real investors, real contractors, real, individuals, service members that are in the business that is helping building real estate investment business. And then we have our monthly meeting the second Wednesday of every month. No matter what, here at the headquarters of Next Home My Way, across the street from the airport, 5151 South Howell Avenue. We have our monthly meetup where first meeting is free. Anything after that, you at least have to pay our membership to be part of our school, which I'll get into that as well. $29 is the first level. And then let me bring up is the first level, $29 for the first level, 147 for the premium, and then $395 for the VIP. So we got 3 levels of that. And so that's at our school. But the monthly meetup, second Wednesday starts at 5:30. First 30 minutes is just mingling, getting to know each other. And then we start at 6 o'clock and go to 7. And then there's an after party after that where we, have drinks, have a little bit more social hour, allow people to have conversation. But during the meeting, we try to present, the numbers that is happening right now. We try to present, what's going on in the market, give you some market numbers just so you can prepare, right? How's the market shaping out? Is things sitting, right? Because if you're doing fix and flip, you should better understand that. What's the rental market looking like? Is more supply coming to the market? So we try to present that. We always try to have a speaker. Last month, we had Bill Wester, the owner of Victory Title, just kind of going through, sharing his story of how he went from 0 to 67 units, and now he's doing developments and actually running one of the top title companies in Milwaukee, and let's say just the state of Wisconsin, right? Because he's just one of those dudes. So Bill just came and dropped the knowledge and just shared with us some of the things that got him to this place, right? And having those type of individuals come to our meetings is just so important, and it gets you the connection again, because every deal needs a title company, right? Especially wholesaling and things of that nature. So having those connections is just so important, because again, real estate is a team sport. So we have people like that. Next month, we got Richard, who's coming to share his AI platform that he built, helping investors purchase real estate without, using AI. With using AI, he built a AI system. So he's going to be coming to speak. He's someone who does 40 plus deals, got 40 plus units that he's managed with his partner. He's in Texas, got a partner in, I believe it's Denver. So guiding people that is not necessarily in the state of Wisconsin, but still coming to speak. And so those are the things that we do, because personally, 50% of my clients are out-of-state clients. Real estate is becoming a very, I don't want to say interbase, but like, you don't have to be there. Like before, investing in out of state was not a thing. I think BiggerPockets made it a big thing about long distance investing. Few of my clients are in Chicago, California, and having 300,000 there doesn't do a lot, but 300,000 in southeastern Wisconsin can go a long way. So it's just finding those investors, putting deals in different places, is just an important part of the investment strategy, right? And working with those individuals. So that's what that meetup does. It just put people in the same room. It helps people touch, real people, right? Especially if you're brand new. One of my clients, he was able to speak, I think it was 2 months ago, because he closed on his first deal. He used a conventional loan, 5% down, bought his first duplex, actually didn't have to put any money down because he was able to get a grant to buy for the down payment assistance, and then also was able to get money at closing, which I haven't heard in a while. So I was so proud to be able to be the broker on that deal, to have him be able to walk away with at least $1,900 in his pocket at closing, and then didn't even have to bring any money down because he had the down payment assistant. It was just one of those amazing opportunities of, when you always hear no money down, and when you actually have those situations happen. My first investment was that. We'll go into that, at another time. But if you want to meet up with some people monthly to get that experience and be around other investors, please reach out to me to be a part of the Aspire monthly meetup. And then lastly, we have school. We provide school, not lastly, sorry, because there's 2 parts of it. We provide school where we have the knowledge base. So like, as I'll share with you guys before, our investor beast levels, we have education for all that. So again, one of the things that I realized what I was doing with some of my clients is that we were having these strategy sessions, they needed some more knowledge base and better understanding. Yes, there's a lot of stuff out there. I believe we are providing things with hands-on. As me being a broker, what I try to share with people, the difference between your real estate guru and me is that I can give you the same knowledge as your real estate guru, but the difference is I can actually hold your hand through a transaction. So a lot of my education that me and Devin provide is from firsthand experience and being the person on the broker side of the deal, of understanding what the seller needs to go through and what the buyer needs to go through. Obviously, we deal with a lot of the buyers because we helping investors purchase stuff, but just understanding a lot of the things, and like I had a few clients where I helped them reposition their property, right? And most of the times, agents just help you sell your property where it as is and just put it on the market so they can sell it. Well, where I look at it and be like, hey, we can reposition it. Let's fix it up, right? We're already doing BRRRR, right? It's basically a BRRRR, right? Instead of just putting your property on the market as is, let's fix it up and so you can maximize your money, and then let's go get that next property. And so there's just always a different approach from it being a broker standpoint and how to address trying to maximize the capital you can use while investing. So those are some of the approaches that we bring because we're in it, right? We're not just investors, we're actually brokers assisting investors on the transaction. And then the beauty of what I feel like what we bring is not only can I help you before the transaction, I can help you during the transaction, and then I can help you after the transaction. And that's what the education that we bring, which leads me into the very last thing that we're doing, which is the Aspire 90-Day Investor Cohort. We're currently in one right now, but Devin just came to me, our CEO, shared like what he wanted to do for the next cohort starting in September. We are giving it away for free. We are looking for people to get into our program and go through it and give us the feedback that we're needing to improve it. So if you are out there looking for a program to get in and experience, please reach out to me or Devin, DM me below, find me on Facebook, find me on Instagram, find me somewhere so that we can put you in a program when it comes in September when we start our next cohort. So we're currently in our one right now. We got a few people in it. You should be seeing some videos that I have out there of me kind of going through the different stages that we're in. So, reach out to me. The next cohort, we're going to be offering it to our clients. So please reach out, let us know you want to be a part of it. We'll be having a sign-up sheet that you can go through the 90-day program. And what the 90-day program is, there's 3 outcomes that we always say that you're going to get. One is you're going to get the business plan to understand what you should do before the transaction, during the transaction, and after the transaction. And the only reason why you're not able to get the transaction is because you aren't able to get pre-approved or you don't have the capital for the down payment. So that is the only reason why you're only walking away with a business plan, but you know exactly what you need to do, who you need to talk to, who you need to go to on all those things before the 90-day ends. Second, you get something under contract. You start going through the process. We introduce you to the people you need to know, a lender, a property manager, contractor, vendors, all those individuals that you need to run a business. We get you in contact with them and we help you start analyzing deals using the Aspire Beast Counsel Calculator and going through that whole process, and that you get to a point where now you can actually run a deal. And then obviously if you have a broker running the program, you can start writing offers. Don't have to use me, but it makes it a little bit easier when you find something you want. We can go to showings, and that's part of what the cohort does. Because I'm a licensed broker, I can actually go to properties. We don't have to just find something that's off market. We can actually go look at something that's on market. So again, a little bit different of what I can bring to the table is I can actually take you to properties that's on the market. Me and Devin as well. He is also a licensed broker as well. The last but not least, but the more a little advanced who joins the program is that they already has an accepted offer. They might have started that process, but needs to better understand of, analyzing the deal. They already been pre-approved. They already got the down payment, but they don't know how to technically analyze the deal. Maybe they don't know how to have the buy box. Maybe they don't have the things they need to do and feel comfortable. But let's say early on, they already have that stuff. We find the deal, they get an accepted offer, or it's already closed. or they're about to close during the 90-day. And now they need to focus on the BRRRR part of it, or the fixed part of the flip, right? So now they bought it, now they need to fix it so they can flip it. So those are the three outcomes. You're either going to have a business plan or know how to do this moving forward. And so as soon as you get pre-approved and the down payment, you can go full speed ahead. The second outcome is that you got to accept their offer. We're helping you through that process. And now you figuring out, what to do before it closed. And then the third one is that you already got to accept the offer. You already closed. And now you're ready to deal with it afterwards. And now you have that foundation. Now you have the vendors. And now you have all those individuals that help you get through that process. So that is our ecosystem, right? That's a lot. That is a lot that we offer. And that's what we bring, because again, we are not here to help you buy a property. We're here to help you buy a real estate investment business. It just so happens to be a property, right? And you need systems in place. If you don't have systems, you're just transactioning and you're going to be a hobbyist. I tell you now, I run into enough investors who have properties on the market, and I can tell you right now, they can have 10, 20, even 30, even 50 units. And some of those individuals are still hobbyists because they let things sit on the market. And to me, that's not a true investor. An investor knows what their property is worth, and they don't take it personal. If they know they didn't put that money into that property, they shouldn't be expecting a return that they know they can't get. So if something is over 30 days, that is not an investor, that's a hobbyist. My opinion. You can yell and shout at me later today. Next, all of this is backed by Resident Standard, right? Part of me brought that, and then, like I said, Devin, he's at a different brokerage, but what I originally wanted to bring to this is because of the client base that I want to work with, and so a lot of this I wanted to build this around, focus on real estate investors and ensuring that the clients that I work with have the systems around them to be successful. I felt alone when I bought my first property. And like I said, the agent that I used at the time, I felt left me alone. Soon I closed on a deal. They went off on their merry way. And the only reason why they heard back from me is because I was trying to go get another deal. And I just felt it was such a lost opportunity of helping me. And now most agents don't have that information. So to get into why I feel like, so my background is I have a bachelor's degree in finance from the UW Milwaukee. Go Panthers. So I have my background in that, which is with a little bit of international finance. I got two minors. One is in economics, another is in economic development. So that was just about the whole economic system and the economic development aspect of economies and the marketplace, and better understanding those things. And so those are the two minors that I got from UW Milwaukee. And I also got two certificates. One is in international business, where I studied abroad in Paris, France. And then my other one is in Latin and Caribbean studies, which that was a very cool program where I studied abroad in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, or Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. It was a cool program about international finance and falo em português. Yes, that's what you hear when I say bom dia and beleza. It's me speaking Portuguese because of the amazing opportunity and experience that I had studying abroad in Brazil. And so that's what I bring when I be saying bom dia. It has such a huge impact on me that I try to use that every day. So if people know me, that they know that I try to inject a little Portuguese in my everyday conversations. And so when you see my videos and hear me say bom dia, that's what I'm saying. That's good day, good morning. And beleza just means value. I appreciate it. It means beautiful. And so it's a great sign off when you're, done talking to someone. It's just like beautiful. Have a, beautiful day. I value you. So, and so I got that from that. So also have an associate degree from MATC. It's in business management. And again, like I said, I have my license, my real estate broker license. I originally got my license in 2005. I know that says a lot about my age. Black don't crack if you don't do crack. Pew. But yes, so I have that background. So I'm my broker license. I have these degrees. And everything has always just been around business building, investing, understanding financing, and real estate. So that is one of the reasons why I do this. That's why I say I try not to just say I teach. I recognize that's what I brought to the table when I was, working with a lot of my clients. And what do I do with my clients now? I feel like I educate, but I needed to have a better way of getting that information to them. And I felt like this is the best way. And this is me getting on technology and using it to the best of my ability. Every deal I bring to this community is a real deal I'm working on with a real client, right? That's the other thing, is that because I'm a broker, if I'm not doing a deal, I'm probably helping someone do a deal. And so everything is always moving and rolling. If it's not a deal that we're putting on the market, we're fixing and flipping. Right now, I'm going through a deal right now with a client. Big shout out to Michael, one of my clients down in Illinois. He just bought 2 properties on one lot. We're fixing it up. He's finna do a short-term rental with one of them and a long-term rental on the other one. Actually was in there today with our demo guy, getting things ready. About to sign the contract with our other contractor to get them working on the roof. Again, deals, we're working on them. We're doing it. We're living it. And we're not just talking about it. That's the difference between us and those other individuals. With that being said, with all the different layers, put it down in the comments which ecosystem you're currently using. If not, which system would you want to start using? Reach out to me, let us know in the comments below and keep it moving. All right. I want to introduce something we're building the whole Aspire ecosystem around. It's called the Beast Evolution Framework. So, and I want to be clear, this is not rankings of people. They're stages of maturity, right? That's all this is it's giving individuals something to shoot for. So again, like I said, there's 3 different levels. We have different names from them as well. And you're going to find out. So first stage of Lion is like Lion Club. And, we just want to make sure we are providing the necessary information and framework for individuals who are going through our program, right? We just want to make sure that you guys understand everything that we're doing, and not just leaving individuals out there of not knowing where they are, what stage they are, and having progression, right? A lot of people want to progress in this. A lot of people want to know that they are, taking the necessary steps to get better, right? Improve and ensure that, either they're keeping up with the Joneses, right? Some people just feel that way, that they want to make sure that they're not behind on things, and having something to shoot for, right? Just having you investors and just running numbers and things of that nature. So we try to give individuals things that they can adapt to and shoot for. So first is Lion Cub. Then we have Hunting Lion, and then Lion Prime. So Lion Cub, you see a potential deal, but you don't know how to judge it yet. Curiosity is high. Convention should be low. The council job is at this stage is to protect you from bad decisions, right? We're getting you ready, like figure out your why, why you want to do this, why you want to be in real estate, things of that nature, and start getting your framework. Like I try to do reverse engineering when I'm working with my clients, right? Like, what are your goals? What are you trying to shoot for? Like, if I was sitting down with a couple, sometimes it's like, well, we want to replace one of our incomes. Then it's like, okay, what is that income? What are we, 5,000? All right. What do you think is a reasonable number to get from each door? All right, 200. We need 25 doors, right? Now we framed it, right? Now we look at a duplex, and if it makes $600, well, you said 200 a door, 400, that deal, let's go look at it. Look at another duplex, it's 100. Well, why is it 100? Is there something we can do? Or is it because of the price of that? And then, we buy it at that, and even the down payment, we're only cash flow on 100. So there's not much we can do. We just scrap it, right? So that's what we do. Next stage is Hunting Lion. You're starting to collect evidence, right? You're starting to better understand. You're starting to get it. You're starting to figure it out. And you want to get out there. And then the last one is Lion Prime, right? You closed on a deal, right? You're doing it, you're getting ready, and now you're ready. You wrote offers, you're doing those things, and basically to get out lying is you close on a deal. That's the only way you can leave lying. So you could have access to all the other information. You go through the bull stuff. You can, because we give you access to the education on there. If you did it all in a week, that doesn't mean nothing. If you haven't closed the deal, you're gonna still be a lion. So we don't allow individuals to move up and down just because you go through the education. You can go through the education, but if you haven't closed the deal, you can't move to the next level. Next one is young bull, right? Getting that bull, getting to understand you closed on the deal. Now it's time to okay. In our situation is like we got that deal now. Like let's start working it, right? Let's get it fixed up. Let's get those tenants in there, or we bought it. Let's fix it up. Let's sell it and go get the next one, right? That it's about getting the next deal at this point. Then we got we said young bull. Now it's charging bull. Now we got the charging bull. Things are moving, right? It's starting now. We're looking at the deal you already had, right? Are we protecting our margins? Now we're starting to compare other scenarios. We're looking back at stuff like, now we know what we're doing. We're starting to understand who we are. And then Ox Monarch. Ooh, that sounds like someone's doing something, right? Allocating capital, right? Now we're trying to do things like, we're figuring it out. We're probably asking other people, right? Maybe we pull some of the money out. Now we want to go get the next. Now we're trying to work on 2 deals at once, right? Now we used our money for a deal. Now we're starting to talk to other investors and see if we can get their deal and say, hey, I found this deal, but I don't got the cash. You got the cash. I got the deal. Let's come together. And then we got so that was bull. Then we got the dragon level. We got apprentice dragon. We got a golden dragon. Then we got elite dragon. Again, we're just, you're structuring more deals. You're stewarding outside capital, and now you're starting to help other people, right? You're starting to talk to bulls. Maybe you're bringing a bull on a deal with you. Maybe you're helping a lion close on their first deal, because the more deals you're doing, the better you're getting. So that's the dragon level. It's about structuring deals. It's like you're putting stuff together. You're doing more things. You're reaching out to the community. You're building relationships. You're building a community. And then last but not least, you're a phoenix. You're beyond building now. It's about legacy. You're just an operator. You're looking at bigger deals. You're not not so much hands-on stuff. People are starting to bring you deals because you have the capital. You're going on a few more vacations. You got some nice cars. You got a vacation home, things of that nature. That's what Phoenix is. Phoenix is that you're living a life that you actually shot for when you started this back when you were just a lonely lion cub. Those are the beast levels. Tell me what questions you might have. Put them down in the DM. We'll get to you. A lion cub and a portfolio, a young bull are not analyzing the same things, right? They're looking at different stuff. The system lets you meet where you are, right? That's where it is. It's about where are you and how do we help you execute? What a lion does for execution is different. What a bull does with execution is different from a dragon with execution. But at the end of the day, you're executing, right? You're still executing, and that's what we want. We want you to keep moving forward. Wow, that's a lot, right? Those are the levels. That's what we're pushing. That's what we're trying to get from this. So part of this segment, I would probably start transitioning to having a conversation. Again, part of the podcast is that we're going to talk to some of our investors that are in our group, but then getting other investors to come and speak on the podcast as well. Again, our thing is about execution. It's all about execution, planning and execution, moving you forward. One of the things that we do at our monthly meetings is ask you, what is your goal? What is something you said you were going to do last month that you are moving towards this month? And then what is you going to do for next month meeting? And then we try to hold people accountable, because that's the thing. That's part of this community. We're building a community to hold people accountable to execute. So I got a list. That's what, if you see me looking off, I got a list to make sure I hit the notes that I need to hit, right? And ultimately, the premise of the podcast is, there's so many podcasts out there. Nothing about this is revolutionary. Sorry, I'm just being real. I'm just a guy who's very passionate about real estate investing. It's just not real estate because, if you just want to go buy a property, I tell people a lot of times, if you just want to buy a property, I can refer you. I'll get a piece of that. But talking to someone about, I want to raise my family in this house, it's hard for me to empathize with that individual. I can understand that individual. I can sympathize with that individual, but I can't empathize. And that's a skill set that some agents do have. And I work with those type of agents. So like when I do fix and flips, I kind of work with other agents to list the properties for me, because now they got to sell it to someone who's trying to might live there to raise their kids. Right. And that's a conversation that, doesn't always resonate with me. But if you come to me and say, hey, Charles, what do I need to do to this kitchen to be able to raise the rent? I can have that conversation all day long, right? And so this is more about being on I don't want to say the front line, but just being in it, right? As a broker, I'm dealing with the transaction. I've written so many offer to purchase, just going through that process and connecting with individuals on how to create a strategy to accomplish their goal. Like I brought up before a customer that reached out to me for consultation. It was, if he would have worked with me, we would have made different decisions because of me understanding real estate investing, right? I just don't want to close on that deal because you just want it. Does it meet what we're trying to accomplish, right? Are we going to do the things that we're trying to accomplish with this deal so that we can get everything done? And that's the whole premise of it. So again, this podcast is not about just watching videos. It's about engaging. It's about execution. It's about getting people involved and showing the real estate investor business, because I genuinely enjoy what I do. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to start doing this podcast, why I do the webinar on Tuesday, why I do the monthly meetups. I genuinely enjoy this. I do not have the Sunday scaries because I work 7 days a week. So, but no, I actually take some days off. So for me, my days are different, right? So like I have my son, I'm a co-parent. So when I have my kid, I kind of shut it down so I can spend time with him. So sometimes I pick him up at noon on a Tuesday and just spend with him. And then I don't always, make time to, analyze deals or go look at properties because I'm with my son and I like to be focused with him. And that's what real estate allows me to do. And that's why I'm so passionate about it. So when I do have the opportunity to be at work, I'm at work, and I really enjoy what I do. I really feel like this is how I'm saving the world. This is how I give back to my community, is helping people invest the right way. I grew up on the north side of Milwaukee. I've seen what investors do when they don't care about their clients, because that's what tenants are. Tenants are your clients. And when people don't care about their clients and their property and they just let it deteriorate because they just want to maximize the income, that is what I am trying to intervene on. In Milwaukee, we have a huge feeling about out-of-state investors. And I always had the premise of out-of-state investors are not the problem. It's the individuals here. Now, they're part of the problem, but the major problem is the partners they pick here that don't take care of the property and just take their cash because they're not here. And then they don't pay attention to those investments like they should because their investor is out of state and not able to watch them. I wanted to intervene in that because I call out-of-state investors invest in our community in foreign aid. We need foreign aid because sometimes local people don't invest in certain areas because they have a certain feeling about it. Certain people like, hey, I only invest in these certain areas, and all their areas are outside of Milwaukee. Well, I'm from inside Milwaukee. And so you're just basically telling me you don't want to invest where I grew up. And I just have a problem with that. I think it's very important to invest in the community. And sometimes some communities get a bad rap, and then people don't want to invest in it and improve it. And then they say, well, that area is bad. Well, the area could get better if you're willing to invest in it. And I want to bring that opportunity to some of these communities that people are avoiding because they had a bad rap. I grew up in what you would say, quote unquote, not a good neighborhood, but someone gave me an opportunity. Someone gave me a chance. My mom owned her house from my um, childhood all the way till I graduated, and um, some years into me being an adult, and that had a huge impact on me. And I think that's part of the reason why I'm in real estate is because I knew where I live. You know, I always knew where my home was. I had the same phone number when it was attached to the wall throughout most of my adult life, right? And throughout my high school and even middle school. So um, ownership is a huge thing to me. It had such an impact on me. My mom having her home, uh, living on the north side of Milwaukee, and I know how important it is if someone fix up one of those houses and the domino effect that it can have. I used to work for Gorman and Company, and I love the fact that they did the Metcalf Park homes, improving neighborhoods. Um, Now we have to compound on those things, right? When one person does it, you need other people doing it, and you need other people following suit to actually have the impact that you want to have. And that's the main thing I want to bring. I want to uplift communities through real estate investing. Landlords get a bad rap. Some of it's deserved and some of it's not, right? These are individuals that can actually improve communities by just improving their homes. And my strategy and what I'm preaching does that because our strategy, you have to improve the property, you have to fix it up, which increases the value of it. So the whole premise is that this will improve the community because we are improving that asset, we are improving that property, and that is the whole reason why we're doing this. With that being said, want to wrap this up. This is what Aspire Investing is all about, is to inspire you to have a better life, to inspire you to invest, inspire you to go after your dreams, to inspire you to invest in real estate. I'm Charles Clark, your real estate investment broker. Follow me for more bright ideas on how to build a real estate investment business. And thank you for joining me on the Beast Council podcast. Beleza.